Hey everybody. I just wanted to take a little bit of a time here and introduce myself first of all. My name is Jerome and I own House of Plastic, vintage toys and collectibles in Cincinnati, Ohio. And I've been down in my workshop area getting stuff ready for the reopening after everything's said and done. And it's gotten me wanting to kind of deal with my own toys a little bit more than I should. But I'm really kind of jonesing to talk about G.I. Joe. So I decided to maybe start a channel here and see how it goes and talk about some of the things that don't get talked about a lot in some videos, at least that I found. Now, I may be missing stuff, but I just wanted to talk about test shots today. It's something that I personally collect and I absolutely love. Now, what a test shot is, it's a part of the process of getting the figure from, the concept stage to your hands, and it's the last process. What it does is it tests the mold for the company, in this case Hasbro, to be able to say yes to the product. Yes, the parts fit. Yes, we like it. Paint it, call it good, and boom. Now, these particular ones are from 2001 to 2004-ish, because that's the figures that they were test shots for. But they were testing the viability of the original O-ring molds back from the 80s. Now what I've done is I've set the figure that it's the corresponding test shot of behind it in this case. Now some of them I don't have the actual figure for. But this one here is the Storm Shadow, 1988 Storm Shadow mold. They were testing the viability to make that one. Now they're usually unpainted. This case it's actually the same color plastic as what came out of the mold. Sometimes it could be all kinds of funky colors, which I'll show you later on in the video. We've got some that are wild looking. But this guy here, sometimes you run into problems like this, where the arm is like super loosey-goosey. And that happens. The quality on test shots are, I've seen some of them that they won't even screw together, and other ones are kind of lackluster, and then other ones are perfect, look like their last step before they even painted it. But I'm going to go over some of my favorites, and of course Storm Shadow is everybody's favorite. Now obviously it wasn't Storm Shadow in the re-release. That was a different character. They just made a basic ninja, which is still really cool. They also did a red version of this guy in 2004. Personal favorites from that era. That was a really good time for G.I. Joe O-ring collectors. Now, here's one of my absolute favorite figures ever, and it's the original Range Viper mold. I got lucky enough to get a set of weapons with this guy, which is rare. A lot of times you don't find the test shot weapons. Usually it's just the figure only. Now, this isn't the test shot for the actual Range Viper or Skullbuster. It's from the 2-pack that came with Major Blood. I love this figure if they just wouldn't have put that Cobra logo on his leg. I know. People hate on this figure so bad, but I love the colors. I love the scheme. I army build the heck out of that guy. I don't even know how many I've got right now. But they did a really good job on the test shot. He looks like one of those ones that are just last step. Except for, if you've noticed, they used pink rivets for his arms, which is kind of a neat little design. They also used the white shoulder connectors compared to a darker colored one that would have been used in the original figure. This is actually the one that got me started collecting these oh so many years ago. I was at a flea market in probably 2004. It's right as these were coming out as regular versions. And these were piling in from overseas. I was picking these up for like $6 a piece. And I was getting anything that was an O-ring mold. Sometimes I've got doubles and triples. I know I got a couple of Night Creepers from the Toys R Us 6-pack. I've got a couple of, believe it or not, the Rip It convention driver of the Hiss driver. Completely unpainted except for the 2 black things on his arms. Anyway, so I was picking those up for $6 a piece from a guy I dealt with a lot, and I was in heaven. I found a completely solid black 84 Storm Shadow mold. And I snapped it up, and I just kind of fell in love with it from there, and bought and bought and bought and bought. This is the corresponding figure that they used for that test shot. And usually, if it's done like this, where it's a solid color, you can almost pick which figure they used, unless they got completely crazy and just used a weird color, because they they, like this guy here, if you looked underneath all this paint, he's a completely black figure. Like, they painted on the flesh tones, and obviously the rest of that too. And then here's, I just recently picked him up, actually. I paid through the butt for him. He's Firefly, and he came complete with a set of weapons. As a kid, Firefly was just my jam. He was so cool. One of the top Cobras, in my opinion. He went on every mission. And my Firefly was missing half his hand because I got him from a flea market or a yard sale or something. But it could have been either this guy, because that's a solid black Firefly as well, which is, I'm wanting to say, the Toys R Us it was the Urban Assault pack. And they were all done in dark colors and dark camo. But they also did one in a black figure with red and gray camo, which is really cool. I just stuck this guy up here because I kind of like him better with that blue, gray, and light gray camo than the red, gray, and light gray. It's, I don't know, kind of goony looking to me. But Firefly is awesome. Displays so well. Super nice little figure. But let me get on to the next batch and we can continue talking, because there's some really neat little surprises with these. Okay, so second part. Now, I don't have the figure that this Cobra Commander probably went to, because, well, I've got it, I just don't have it handy, because you can tell by the red hood that he probably went with that the Crimson Procession pack that was a Toys R Us exclusive. The red matches perfectly. So I just stuck the blue one up there behind him, because everybody loves the translucent stuff. I mean, God knows I'm a sucker for it. He was part of the comic book 3-pack is what he was for, but it's the same mold. This Coco, I just recently got him and paid a little bit more than I wanted to pay for it, but I really wanted it. Good old Evil Bay got me on that one, but sometimes, you know, they're just super rough to get. And I think I've gotten a good enough deal on the other ones. I can pay up a little bit more and it'll all equal in the wash, right? I mean, the old saying goes, you can have anything you want, but you can't have everything you want. I just recently learned that in the last few years from my wife. She brought that from her family. That was her mother's saying, and it super fits everything. You can have anything you want if you focus on it. You just can't get greedy and try to get everything you want, because you won't get anything. So, moving on from the philosophical stuff. This is a recent one that I just got, and this is one of the little surprises. So, this guy here, 89 Destro mold, obviously. Now, I put the cape on there because he came without a cape. I just thought it was in need. I put the 89 Destro behind it. Sorry my figure back there is not dead mid. It's the one that I had handy. He's good enough. He's not a beater figure, but he's good enough. Anyway, so what the interesting part about this is A, it's one of the screwed up color ones where they were just using whatever plastics were in the molds at the time. But one of the things they did to test viability was just use the whole figure. Now, what came out was the body, like the torso, was used for the convention, what was that, 2006, I believe it was, that had the Overlord head on it. It did not have the Destro head. They used the Destro torso. But since these parts were all in one area for this figure, the company just said, to heck with it, you know, stick that head on there. At least it's got a head. Send it over and see what they think about the rest of the parts. And that's what happened. Now, I just got this guy from a local dealer. Was so excited. Destro was always one of my favorite figures. This particular version was my favorite version. Iron Grenadiers are always super cool little niche for collectors. And as far as the little side subgroup, I think they're a great subgroup. I try to army build what I can on there. Not every figure is awesome. But like the actual Iron Grenadiers, I love them. Anyway, but yeah, that's one of the little ones that, like I said, this was never released again. This head was, to my knowledge, which I've never seen it released again from the 1989 version, or 88. I can never keep that straight. Anyway, doesn't matter. Now, these two I don't have the figures for. I don't know what version that would have been. They reused they called him the Sub Viper in, I want to say 2000, with the came with the reuse of the Shark mold, where they made it a Cobra vehicle, if I'm not mistaken. And I love this one because it's just super bright and flashy. The colors are fantastic. Nice use. I mean, there's always been some Joe figures that's like, man, if I just had a different paint job, that mold was amazing. And this was always one of them. The original one was Scream 90s. I don't know. I still like it. But that redo version that came out in whatever it was, 2001, 2002, was probably the best way they could have done it. This one here, Naugahyde, is another one of the ones that did not come out like this. This is for the convention figure that came out 2004, the Dreadnought set. And what they did was they used the body of this figure, but they gave it Zangief's head from Street Fighter and did not use the Naugahyde head. The Naugahyde head was not used again until they made the convention figure for the Destro set in 2005, where they made, I want to say it was General Mayhem was his name, which is an awesome figure. If you guys can ever find that figure, he's a fantastic use of parts. I love it. Now, if you look real close on the belly there, you can see somebody wrote on it. And what that is whoever used the mold that day kind of initialed off that they were the ones that did it. It's a quality control issue. It's also, shows, who ran it, who did what, and I don't know what their record keeping's like over there, but I'm sure it's got, what time it was made and all that happy stuff, at least for a matter of time. But this is one of the ones I picked up forever ago. I was super excited about that, and for years I didn't even realize that it was one of the ones where they didn't re-release it intact like that. I just kind of put that together last year, so I'm like, oh, wait a minute, they never used Naugahyde's head. But a very cool little figure, and it's also one of the ones with the screwed up parts, where they're all different colors, and I just think that's fun. Back to Destro just because he's awesome. What? Oh, ha, ha, ha. Okay, moving on. So this is the last one I'm going to talk about today. I think I'm going to do a part 2 on this, just to not make it super long on my very first posting on YouTube. But now this can be, I don't want to call it a test shot. I guess you could call it a prototype, because it did not come out this way. And that's this version of Flint. Now this is for the Night Force 6-pack that came out from Toys R Us. Probably one of my favorite 6-packs that ever came out. Very cool. I love Night Force as a kid. There are obviously some very expensive figures now for the originals, but this is a great little, one of the best sub-teams that they ever put out. Now, the original version that actually came out with those dark colored pants. As you can see, I don't know, I'm guessing that's probably black plastic with a gray paint. Whereas this one was the way that they were supposed to come out initially, and they changed their mind at the last second. So some of the painted samples of these actually came out where they have gray pants. Now, that I don't want to call it a prototype, but I guess it is a prototype, because it is a non-released version of the actual product. It's got totally different molded plastic, totally different paint scheme. Now, I think this version looks better for a Night Force figure. The light colored gray pants, I bought it because it was one of those things that you just don't see. He wasn't super cheap. I don't want to say what I paid, but it wasn't super cheap. Now, I've actually watched a full set of those sell, so I know that there's full sets that came out with those gray pants, and somehow they got out. Completely painted samples. Lost one on the Evil Bay probably 6 or 8 months ago that had a full set of painted figures, and it actually had a test shot of him unpainted, and then it also, I'm wanting to say, had Beachhead, if I'm not mistaken. It went well out of my price range that I was willing to pay for it. It was, if I had super deep pockets, it would have been like, yeah, get it. But no, not on this man's salary, which ain't a whole heck of a lot. So I figure at least this way I can get one, But it's a really neat figure. I think this Tunnel Rat and Beachhead are the 3 figs out of the set that really need more love than what they get. Very interesting little set. The colors don't look dead on like when you try to incorporate them into the original stuff, but I love them. I mean, you know, hey, they never did a Night Force Flint back in the day, so what are you going to do? But yeah, so I just really, I want to show some stuff that I think is super cool and talk G.I. Joe for a minute. I will say this, you know, whenever I post these videos, because I plan on posting more, it's really not one of those, hey, look what I got kind of things. I don't believe in that, because there are guys out there with way better collections, way bigger collections than I've ever even thought about having. It's just a matter of, I like talking about the Joes. Something I've collected since I was a very little kid. It's one of the only toy lines that I'm passionate about, to the point of, I don't call it obsession, but maybe obsession. So it's just one of those things where, you know, I've been cruising YouTube, and I've been seeing some stuff out there video-wise. That's been really fun stuff, but, you know, I feel like there's so many more collectors in the market these days than there used to be. Guys getting into it, or guys that have just been into it for a year or two, that, you know, they might want to see some more oddball stuff or whatever. And I just figured we could talk. So, hey, if you want to, subscribe. We're going to try to keep posting these as much as I can. As we speak, I've got time to do these, so you guys can expect more. Anyway, hope everybody stays safe. Hope everybody's having fun. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Drop a comment down below if you guys really want to. Try to keep it clean. Kids might watch this. No bad stuff, guys. Thanks. Anyway, have a good one, guys. Bye.